Broadcasting live from Bajuka Bog, it's Bannings, Boosters, and Books. On this episode of Tap Tap Concede, I'm Graham.
I'm Cameron.
And I'm Nelson.
I couldn't do the plane because I realized the plane was Zendikar, is Bajuka
Zendikar.
Bog?
It's on Zendikar.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Okay. We just wanted to get alliterative with the opening to the...
Everybody already read it on the thumbnail.
Oh, right. You would have already seen the name of the podcast. Hey, welcome to this episode of Tap Tap Concede. Today we're talking about a bunch of stuff because we've been off for a couple weeks because of Desert Bus, which was awesome and wonderful. And thank you, everyone who helped make that such a big success. But we're back now to talk about Magic, and all of this, boy, did some stuff happen.
It's been a while.
During the hiatus. And yeah, we're going to talk about bannings because there has been some bannings and things related to boosters. And yeah, that whole thing with the books. Mostly one book.
Book.
Related
There's only
to,
one book we really need to talk about.
Yeah. But before we get into that, we're going to remind you, of course, that Tap Tap Concede continues to be brought to you by our good friends at Card Kingdom. Hit up cardkingdom.com/LRR for all of your Card Kingdom needs. They will now ship
Buy as many Card Kingdoms from them.
as many
if you
Card
want.
Kingdoms as they will sell you. As we've always said, they'll ship singles anywhere in the world and sealed product anywhere in the U.S. They will now ship out-of-print sealed product anywhere in the world.
The fanciest sounding kind of sealed product.
Yeah, well, older stuff. You can now get it from Card Kingdom.
That's right.
Yeah.
Even if you don't live inside the kingdom of the United States.
And if you tell them loading ready run sent me button, please, they'll send you a little 1-inch button, and I don't remember what it says right now because I think they ran out of upkeep triggers or self-care very quickly.
Huh.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, that was a good one.
They should just bring back Tap Tap Unsleeve. I love that one.
We can send them a reprint of that one.
Yeah.
We'll do that. And of course, this show and everything we do is brought to you by you and your kind support of our Patreon at patreon.com/loadingreadyrun. Thank you for letting us do all the stuff that we do. Well, I guess we should do a crack a pack.
We appreciate you
Yeah.
appreciating
So let's
us.
do this, but we're not going to spend too long on it because we have a lot to talk about today.
Crack a
Wow,
quickie.
You really whipped that.
It's just like Winamp over here. 6.
Just like Winamp.
It really whips the dices. Anyway, this is a pack of, Dominaria.
Sick.
From, I want to say, Crunard.
Thanks, Crunard.
Yeah.
Yeah, from Mailtime. So thank you for mailing us that.
Come on, Tef.
Is this? I'm sorry. This isn't Dominaria. This is
Oh.
Dominaria. Specifically, 15 cartes supplémentaires.
So
This
this would
is
be
en
French
Dominaria.
Dominaria?
Dominaria en français.
Le Dominaria.
En français, s'il vous plaît.
Oui.
Impulsion Audacious.
Audacieuse.
What's that?
Audacious.
Adventurous impulse.
Adventurous.
Wherever I don't know where the reader is.
Yeah. It's close. We're near there. We're moving cards around. Things are happening.
James says this is the right place, but
It's
not-
adventurous
not
impulse,
showing
guys.
up. Single green mana for a
Girls.
ritual. Sorcery.
Non-binary people.
Look at the top 3 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature or land from among them. Put it into your hand, and put the rest on the bottom in any order. Sure. Abomination Sauvage.
It's Omniscience Draft All-Star, Feral Abomination.
I guess, yeah. You could just
You played them.
turn one. Yeah, 5. Oh, I mean,
3 of them.
You only got to an Omniscience draft. You only got to not play 3 of your picks,
2.
right?
2 of your picks. 3 of them are basic lands.
Right.
So might be one of your picks. Or so
Yeah.
another one might be a basic land. Or no, that's not even true, because you can't get a foil basic on Arena. So 3 of them are basic lands. And then you have to cut 2 cards.
It's a 5/5 death touch for a 6.
Yeah.
For 5 and a black.
Anything large you play.
Coruz de Relique.
That's the Relic Seeker.
Yeah.
Or Relic Courier? Relic
Relic Runner.
Runner.
Yeah, so courier probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ah, yes. Courier, from the French verb courir.
Ah.
To run.
Right, of course.
Yeah. Courez. I can't say it either.
Courez.
1 and a blue for a 2/1 that can't be blocked if you've cast a historic spell this turn.
It's gendered, right? It's the female courrier.
Yeah, it's the feminine. Yeah.
Courez. Couruse.
Yeah.
Couruse.
The adverb form.
Rusty over here.
As a reminder, historic spells, not to be confused with the historic format, are artifacts, legendaries, and sagas.
I love that this is our fast crack-a-pack, and we're just like, how do you speak French? Let's just talk about the French language for any number of minutes.
Grâce curative.
Yep.
Healing Grace.
No one cares.
Single white mana, instant, prevent 3, or you gain 3 life.
Fantastic.
Oh,
art, though.
both. But you do both of those. Foudre irradiante.
Oh, yeah.
The It's the 1 mana, 3 mana to your opponent, radiating lightning.
Yep.
3 mana to your opponent, and 1 damage to every creature they control for 3 in a red.
Chandra's burned lots of things.
Druides Quasian.
Getting bigger druid? Oh, Croson.
Frozen Druid.
Yeah, Croson Druid.
Crocian.
2/3 for 2 and a green, but you can kick it for 4 and a green, and if you kick it, you gain 10 life. Intervention Ardente. I'm not doing the right accent.
No.
No, it's not
Ardente.
Spanish, but Ardente.
Yes, Ardente. 4 and a red, sorcery. Choose one. It either deals 5 damage to a creature or destroy an artifact.
This is a fantastic Frangolay card because you can just be like, intervention, Ardente.
Yeah, Ardente. Lumière.
Benny.
Benny. Lumière Benny.
Yeah, that's blessed. There you go.
Blessed Light.
Yeah.
4 and a white for an instant. Exile target artifact.
Calista
Sorry,
Tabernac. It's right
not
there.
artifact. Creature
Yeah.
or enchantment.
Sorry.
Construction.
I'm not supposed to swear in our...
D'entraînement.
Yep. D'entraînement. Construction
Training
d'entraînement.
dummy.
Yeah, training dummy.
Sparring construct. 1
Right.
mana for a 1/1. When it dies, you put a +1/+1 counter somewhere.
Sir Nobody.
Infection Fonguade.
Yep.
Fungal.
Funguad.
Fonguade.
Oh, it might be fungoid.
Fungoid?
Yeah,
It's got
I forget what...
It's got an umlaut. Well, it's
forget
not
what
called an
umlaut
umlaut in
It's
French.
It's an accent.
It's
not
not circumflex.
No, that's the hat.
It's not an agu. It's not a graph.
Yeah, I don't know what
2
this.
dots.
I don't know what this one is. It's an umlaut.
We've
but
forgotten
in French. It's
what the
not called
French
an umlaut.
2 dots is
It
called.
doesn't. It's fungal infection. Single black mana for an instant. Ooh, La Renaissance de Lane.
Nice. La Renaissance de Lane.
The Eldest Reborn. 4 and a black for a saga. Each opponent on Chapter 1, each opponent sacks a creature or planeswalker. Chapter 2, each opponent discards a card. Chapter 3, put target creature or planeswalker from a graveyard into the battlefield under your control.
Literally the comeback of the ancient, right?
Sele.
The rebirth of
Sele?
the ancient. Yeah.
Sele.
Sele.
Yep.
Seal away.
Seal away.
Sail away. Yep.
It's
Put in your basement.
SCELL or SCELL.
Yeah. There you go.
1 and a white for an enchantment with flash, taps or exile a tapped creature until Seal Away leaves the battlefield. Does it come back untapped?
Yep. I mean, unless it
Of
doesn't.
course it would.
Unless
Why
it doesn't.
wouldn't it? Yep. What a silly question.
Unless it's like that 4-mana 3/5 tree
Urgaros,
folk from
le qui
Future
est vide. Louis, le, li, qui.
Okay, hold.
Louis Key.
Louis.
Evid. He who is empty.
Yeah.
It's just
He
4
who is
words.
empty.
Take the dashes out.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't know
Right.
why the dashes are there.
Because it's the he who is empty. You say it very quickly. Urgaros, the empty one.
Yeah.
4 black for a 4/3 with vol, with flying. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, they discard a card at random, and if they can't, you draw a card, and that's the best feeling in this limited format.
Is he like holding a shield that's made of ghosts? I've only just noticed that there's like a purple splotch in
Yeah.
front of Urgaros.
Yeah.
It's sort of in one of his hands or her hands. I don't know. Their hands.
I don't know.
And then in the other hand, there's a weapon. So like maybe that's a shield.
So we got
Maybe.
the land is a forêt. The token is a saprobeante. I'm doing the wrong accent again.
I'm keeping that. Give
What,
me
the-
that. I'm taking it home.
No, give me back the. Give me back our Mox d'Ambre.
Wow, we got a Mox Dombra. That's like the best hit in the set now.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I think this is the new most expensive card in Dominaria. Thanks so much. Crunard.
Yeah, that's
Well done.
awesome. Mox.
Get that straight into our historic deck.
d'Ambre is-
Sorry, I didn't even get to see what the token was.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Saprobeante.
Saprobiant.
Beyond. God, I keep.
Unless it has the accent, you don't.
Yeah, no, I know. It's been a long time since I did French, but also it's just whenever I'm talking about Magic cards, I'm always doing the like El Spidro Gigante, and
Right,
for some
right.
reason, I can do French. I can read French. It's just I've completely short-circuited myself on Magic cards. Apparently,
All other
this is the
languages
first time
are Spanish.
I think this is the first time we've done a French
No, definitely not.
booster. Is it? No, well,
Oh yeah, no.
I guess I also just don't remember anything either.
Remember that time I completely put Graham under the bus? I was like, here's the bus.
I just got off the bus. I was sick for 3 days afterwards.
Oh. Poor Graham.
It's okay.
You're not as okay as Oko.
No,
Sorry.
Oko
You're not-
is gone.
It's not
also.
Oko, though. Even though
Everything's
it's
fine.
okay.
It's elk jokes are over.
Yeah,
That's right.
It's all
More like
shut
Noko.
it down.
You may now return to your regular
That's
Twitter.
a good one.
Thank you.
More like Noko.
Yeah.
Yeah, Oko's been banned in standard finally. But he wasn't alone. He took some friends with him.
That's right. We've been a minute since a Tap Concede podcast. So why don't we scroll it back to 3 weeks ago?
Yep.
Pioneer only had 5 banned cards.
Yes.
Right. Nothing had been banned yet. It was the full Wild West, and it still is. But
the 5 banned cards were the 5 fetch lists.
only the 5 fetches were not legal.
pull up
All the
current
booster pack
ban
sets. This format had just been announced. I don't even know if we talked about that on an episode of Tap Concede.
No, we talked about Pioneer.
Did we just say that we were going to talk about it later? Okay, that's fine.
Gosh,
maybe
I
we
hope
talked
not.
about it. That's okay. Anyways, Pioneer has had some bannings. It had an initial round just after Adam and I got back from Command Fest Seattle. I remember taking a cab with him to the airport and talking about how what he thought would get banned. He had just played the cat deck on one of our streams.
Yep.
And he was like, I don't think they'll ban it yet. It's too early. It's pretty good, but I don't know. It's not that good. There's other good decks.
I think that was one of the
disagree.
ones where the cat was absolutely like, hand hovering over the button.
I saw
Right.
some.
Yeah.
I saw some people that were very upset about the. It's like didn't even give the format a chance to try to stabilize. Didn't couldn't.
It was 2 weeks. It
And
was 2
I
weeks, at least.
I disagree with that. I think the cat absolutely should have been. I think it should have been put on the first ban list. But I appreciate what they did.
I mean, they didn't do the thing in Modern where they were like, we're going to cut out these 12 cards because obviously those are busted. You don't want anyone
they
playing
were like-
Modern with Jitte.
Yeah, they were like,
Right.
all right. Maybe the cat's not busted in Pioneer. And people were like, no. It's the same cat deck as before, but now we have 3 mana Teferi.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, okay, we should.
Yeah,
it's
and
busted
Oko
then.
if you want. Yeah. So they also banned Oath of Nissa.
Yeah, that was an
from-
interesting one.
Well, I don't know if it was the same deck. Some of the decks back then, like the cat modern decks, I believe, and maybe some of the standard decks were using Oath of Nissa. I think Oath of Nissa and Saheeli had been in the same decks a bit.
As a reminder.
Well, like Oath of Nissa goes into any deck where you're playing green and planeswalkers,
Sure, I
right?
guess.
Because
yeah.
like this was just part of
people were
that
just free rolling it.
four-color
Yeah.
As a
Planeswalker
reminder,
deck.
Oath of Nissa is a single green mana for a legendary enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, you look at the top 3 cards of your library. You can reveal a creature, land, or planeswalker from among them, put it into your hand, and the rest go on the bottom. And then you can spend any mana you like to cast planeswalker spells, regardless of color. You still have to spend this. You have to spend the right number, but any color.
Yeah,
of
it was
mana.
just like
Got
base
nicknamed
green,
green.
and then all three mana planeswalkers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got nicknamed Green Ponder while it was in Standard. And the third card they banned on the initial run is Leyline of Abundance. And I was a little disappointed that I just didn't have my Pioneer deck together yet when Leyline of Abundance got banned. I was like still working on it and sourcing, my Burning Tree Shamans and trying to figure out what spread of Geese versus Llanowar Elves I was going to play or whatever, and just hadn't had a Pioneer event yet at YJ. And I had my Leyline of Abundances because I just opened them packs. That's fine. But I was looking forward to playing this and thought I was clever. Yeah, that moment when you're like, what if I just played 20 mountains and a whole bunch of lightning bolts? Has anyone tried that yet?
Yeah.
Right. And then I'm just like, Leyline of Abundance is bad. I was like, oh, I see. It's just and then like look at the deck lists or whatever. Like I hadn't done that yet. Right. You just
Yeah.
like save new format. I'm not going to look at the deck lists. I'm just going to brew.
Right.
What were these
And
decks
then-
like?
They would be like, before the game starts, I want to start with 2 Leyline of Abundance in play. Turn 1, Nykthos.
Well, no, you still want a forest on turn 1 so you can play a mana dork. But then
like,
on turn 2,
I mean, that was the
yeah,
right,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, it's immediately you play Nykthos, you tap your mana dork and your forest, or just your mana dork. Your forest is like untapped, right? And then your Nykthos taps for 5, and then you like on the second turn play that something that untaps it maybe, or you just immediately slam like a Nissa, untap it.
Oh,
Now it's a
right.
mana dork. It adds 2 mana. And then you play like 2 Burning Tree Shamans and a Sylvan Caryatid and say go. And then on turn 3, you play a Walking Ballista for like 30.
Cool format.
Cool format.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, no. The Nykthos taps for 3, right? No, it's not a forest. The forest taps for 2. Oh, right. Now the forest taps for 2, so you can tap the Nykthos again. This is turn 2.
The forest taps for a total of 3 because it taps for 2 as a result of the Nissa, and then an additional 1 because it's a creature now also. So then the Leyline makes it tap for 3 total. with
Or
Nissa.
no, you want Nissa to untap the Nykthos, though, so that you can tap the Nykthos with its ability again.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So now the forest taps for 2 to pay into the, you tap that forest for 2 and slam your 2 Burning Tree Shamans down. Then you tap your Nykthos that's a creature for 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 mana and cast Ulamog. But they only have 1 target. So they only have 1 land.
Luckily, you can't do any of this anymore.
Yeah.
So you just have an Ulamog on the battlefield and you say go.
Yeah, like I feel that there's a 2-part image macro meme where there's the girl like leaning forward and explaining something, and that's like that line of play. And then there's me holding the blanket up, holding 1,000-Year Storm, and being like,
nice.
I'll be able to do something on turn 5.
You didn't know this, but I want you to know I've been spending this whole standard season in paper, not on Arena, but in paper, I've been spending this whole standard season trying to make 1,000-Year Storm work. So not even in standard. No, it's not great. But I've been playing this deck in Pioneer, and it's still pretty fun even without the ley lines.
Sweet. The other card, the only other one they banned in a follow-up banning, was Veil of Summer.
Veil of Summer was banned on its own the following Monday.
1 mana Cryptic Command, as it turns out.
Yeah, just letting these fast green decks. So there's like a fast and a slow version of Nykthos green, basically, or mono green, and both of them get to run Veil of Summer if they want.
Veil of Summer, by the way, single green mana instant. You draw a card if an opponent has cast a blue or black spell this turn, which is often the case. Spells you control can't be countered this turn, and you and permanents you control gain hexproof from blue and from black until end of turn. So yeah, you just kind of stop them from doing stuff, and also you draw a card from it.
I feel that the blue or black spell that may have been cast this turn was frequently Oko.
Right.
Yeah.
So this card's been banned in multiple formats, but Seed Time never was. I don't get it, It's a similar amount of hate, right?
So, good old Seed Time.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's Pioneer. What do we make of that, of where the bannings sit at the moment? There's probably going to be another one before this episode even.
It's surprised, maybe on the same day. No, they said they probably wouldn't. No, but this last week, when they banned a bunch of other cards, 3 other formats got bannings after the week after this Veil. So the Veil of Summer got banned on the Monday of Desert Bus.
Yeah.
And then the following Monday, Legacy, Brawl, and Standard got hit with bans. But Pioneer didn't. We were expecting something because they said sort of every Monday for a while. But they also said that next Monday, probably not, because they were so happy with how the deck lists looked and the variety of cards that people are playing that they thought, okay, things really need to change quite a bit from this before we want to hit it with another banning. So the Monday of release for this episode, we're not expecting a ban in Pioneer.
Yeah, you're right. I've just checked. They said they are not intending to ban anything on the 25th.
Yeah. So what do we think we'll see banned in Pioneer? I mean, from my experience, I've only played on paper. I've played 2 events now. I played mono green with either of these really good cards, and I still did really well. So I was kind of expecting them to ban Nykthos.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
apparently there's lots of other good decks too. I just haven't gotten beaten by them yet. Yeah, I'm sure I will.
Yeah, I think Nykthos has been kind of like a why didn't you just ban Nykthos card for a long time. And from what I understand, WotC's policy has been if there is a 2-card combo, or not a 2-card combo, but in the case of 2-card combos, they will ban whatever's cheaper.
Sure.
To avoid the ultra bad feels.
Right.
Like you don't ban the Planeswalker, you ban the uncommon that breaks it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right?
So,
however, in Standard, they had to do all of those things.
Right.
Because the Standard bannings on the 18th were Oko, Thief of Crowns, as had been much demanded. Once Upon a Time, which is the 1 and a green instant, but it's free if it's the first spell you've cast. You look at the top 5 cards of your library and get a creature land into your hand.
Similar to Oath of Nissa.
Yeah. And Veil of Summer, also banned in Standard. Yeah. And they said that their reasoning for Veil of Summer in Standard was that in the sort of cycle of color hate cards, Veil of Summer was just like in another league above, and
it's
was
different from Noxious Grasp or the Beetle or whatever, right?
Yeah, their wording was that it was preventing the metagame from self-correcting.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, Oko, like we said, the elk jokes are over. Oko was a problem.
Let's talk about this for a minute.
Yeah.
Why isn't it -1?
Why does it only cost 3?
Yeah. Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Why, Oko?
Why?
It's like he cast fairy magic on R&D and tricked them into getting this printed.
I mean, they put up an entire article from the play design team basically being like, we need to talk about Oko, right? It's like the like, how did we let this happen? And it sounds like if I could, it's worth reading. But if I
It's
could,
a good art collection. I liked it.
yeah, if I could TLDR it, it's an awful lot like what has traditionally happened with cards that are like whoops busted, which is there were changes to the design made late in the process that weren't as rigorously tested, and it got out the door.
Kind of like Skull Clamp,
Yeah.
Chite.
Right. Just sort of like they didn't get down into the specifics of like this is what Oko looked like at one point, and then these changed, but it was just sort of like they did some testing and it seemed okay, and then they tweaked some stuff and that seemed okay, and then they tweaked it again, and then they were like, yeah, it's probably fine.
That happens. It's like I don't know the process entirely of the game development.
I want to say at some point somebody was like, how's Oko feel? How do we feel about Oko right now? And somebody just said, can we change it to +1? And they're like, yeah, all right.
Yeah.
And what it was misunderstood, right?
Oh, I see. Okay.
Oh, like changing the
Maybe
+2.
somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean,
There was a conversation that was that was
I
like
could
in the
see
middle
that.
of like two other conversations in the
it's
break
like,
room or something.
Instead of, and they changed the -1 ability, say.
or
right,
the
to a
0,
+1.
yeah.
Yeah.
right, or they changed. Yeah.
That of course is a joke. It makes the play design team sound incompetent.
Which we're not.
Which they are not. But
That's the kind of mistake I would make.
Oko was a problem. And Oko needed the standard ban.
Yeah. No, I want to affirm the statement that the play design team and the folks at Wizards are competent, but they're also humans. Right?
Oh, yeah.
I appreciate the candor of this article they released because they're honest with us.
That's what we try to get across on
It's
this
great.
podcast a lot. Is like, so people make mistakes and it doesn't make them evil.
Yeah. No, for sure.
People screw up. Now they also banned Oko in Brawl.
Right.
After people, I didn't think he was as much of a problem in Brawl, but the trick is in Brawl, Planeswalkers can be your commander, so you just always had Oko.
Yeah.
Again, Brawl was not as bad, but I think
The thing is, he
there were a
can
lot
target. Your creatures can also be your commander, so he can make the opponent's creature, like their commander creature, into a 3/3 elk.
which was just sort of like,
which is like removes a bunch of the fun of it.
Well,
right?
it's not. Yeah, because it's not even exile target creature. It's
Yeah,
control
they
against
can't
a 3/3
recast. They
elk.
have to somehow attack into it or get it lost or whatever.
that makes a lot of sense actually. And I mean, I guess briefly, just the other bannings were in Legacy. Renin 6 is banned.
More like Renin $6.
Ouch.
This was, what deck was this?
Teamer, Canadian Threshold actually is what the deck was originally called, and now I
Really?
think it usually just gets called Teamer Delver usually. So I haven't actually looked at any Legacy lists lately, but the last time I played Legacy, this deck had already been around for 10 years, so I'm going to guess it hasn't changed that much. You had to play like 0 basic lands.
Interaction with Wasteland.
Yeah, you
and
play-
the historic prevalence of metagame, defining 1 toughness creatures like Mother of Runes, Thalia, and Young Pyromancer.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. Well, yeah, Pyromancer is usually a different deck, although maybe that's the deck that Ren.
Oh, and Teamer Delver decks too.
Okay,
Well,
so
yeah, I mean-
so the Teamer Delver deck that I was imagining is like playing Delver of Secrets, and then usually like Force of Will, Lightning Bolt. Sometimes there's another creature in, like, occasionally there was a version that played Deathray Shaman until that got banned, and then so oftentimes they play Nimble Mongoose or Tarmogoyf. So like maybe those 3 creatures, and then they'll play like another counterspell like Daze often. Be some Spell Pierces, maybe whatever the sort of flavor of the week is, like the best other blue card. Brainstorms for sure, and maybe some other cantrips, and then Jace the Mind Sculptor sometimes would sneak in there in those decks. Not that often though. Usually that was in like a blue-eye control thing, but like some other kind of like they're cheap creatures, cheap interaction, and then like maybe a source of card advantage. And now they got to play it for 2 mana.
Yeah.
With this card, because like this will give you all the card advantage you need to win a game.
Yeah.
Right. Especially if the -1 is like routinely killing something that matters, like they say.
And then in Vintage, Narset, Parter of Veils is restricted because nothing actually gets banned in Vintage. It
Yeah.
only gets sent out into the sea.
This should probably not surprise anyone. Like,
Well, I
there's-
don't know anything about Vintage, but
Well,
yeah,
I
this seems
barely
like-
do,
seems
but
like
a
the
lot
sort
of the decks
thing
look
where-
pretty samey, right? Like at least a solid chunk of many of the decks are drawing a bunch of cards, right? Like they're playing a bunch of cantrips or cards that draw an extra card every turn, or just straight up draw 7s for both players. Like Time Twister does get some play
They
in
said,
Vintage.
following up on the results of the Eternal Weekend, of North America 2019, we're making one additional change. In the context of the fast mana and efficient card draw available in Vintage, Narset is contributing to one-sided games at a higher degree than is healthy.
Yeah, like your Vintage deck often probably you probably were running Narset. On average in Vintage, you're running a bunch of blue spells, and if your opponent could turn one a Narset and then you didn't have a Force of Will, or they had a Force of Will as well, that was probably just lights out for your whole game.
Yeah.
Because
That's what they say here,
because your deck is just reliant on playing the cantrips in its hand in order to find anything. And so if it just can't cast Brainstorm anymore, then you're not going to cast any other spells either. I want to go back to talking about Oko, if that's okay.
Yeah. I just wanted to get all the
totally fine.
all the bannings.
Those are the bannings.
That's the state of the bannings.
Yeah.
But let's
talk about each of them as much as everyone wants. So
keep talking about Oko. Yeah.
So in deck design and refinement, which is, I don't know, the only part of like getting a deck ready for a tournament that I think I'm any good at is just like I can take a net deck or a deck that I see the play patterns of that someone else has built, and I can play with it, and then I can make subtle tweaks. Like I can change a few cards because there'll be something that I know I want to play. I want to have access to this if I'm tutoring for it. I want to have access to this if I'm in a long game and we're going to see half our decks. I want the following sideboard plan. Like I can do that from the point of view of, okay, this is what this deck is. This deck works. And sometimes you go through several iterations of a deck for a tournament, and when you're trying to figure out what the best one is, you're like, you're on like week 3 or something before a PTQ you're going to play, and you have an idea that you haven't tried yet, and you run it through once or twice and it works, but then you have to ask a question about what it's going to be like against another match, and you didn't have time to play test the newest version against, versus the Boros aggro deck or whatever that you had played a bunch of reps with earlier, and you're like, I think it's going to be fine. And I imagine if they're still tweaking this Planeswalker that's like a marquee character for the set late into development, like that's not entirely locked in. They're still trying to find pieces of it that work. They probably got to a version of it they were very happy with, this one that was printed, and then there were just some parts of, like, this is potentially what happened. It's just it's my serious take on
we are theorizing.
Yeah, we're theorizing. It's my serious take on the like joke about, let's make that a -1, or can we make that a +1, right? Where like this would have slotted in fine against certain matchups or given certain play patterns, but then something else changed as well, or they just didn't have time or were able to like, answer the question perfectly of like, what happens if X, right? Like there's just a lot of variables in Magic, obviously. And
you were saying also, when we were chatting before we started about R&D's or play design specifically, their sort of ethos going forward into 2020.
Right. So yeah, they mentioned in this article that they've been using and when we met Gavin Verhey for the PPR, had the sleeves for it. I remember the FIRE philosophy, right? Fun.
I'm trying to
interactive, replayable, and exciting.
Inviting,
not
fun,
interactive.
inviting, replayable, and exciting.
Yeah. So I'm not entirely sure about the difference between fun and exciting, but they want their games to be fun, inviting, replayable, and exciting. And to that end, they wanted to make sure that they were making, I feel like maybe in Born of the Gods there was like a low for this, where it's like standard is fair and everything's like pretty safe, but people aren't excited to crack packs.
Yeah.
Magic, the game needs to be exciting, so you need to be able to open up something that's like, wow, look at this card. Is this even a card? And Oko definitely does that.
Oh yeah.
And they want to keep doing that. So they've let us know that, like, buckle up. 2020 is going to have more powerful Magic cards, right? We don't know exactly what that's going to look like, and they've learned that 3-mana Planeswalkers are pretty messed up.
Yeah.
But you know what? And I got to give Matt Sperling, sick of it on Twitter, credit for this because I'm just stealing his tweet. But what they didn't mention in this article at all is Once Upon a Time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it's like, maybe we'll see more free spells in the future if, like, nobody wants to say that having a free spell is a big problem, right? Casting a spell for free is really exciting.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, there's a reason that all those kids flock to play Yu-Gi-Oh!
Where's my Pot of Greed?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so here's the thing: is like I don't really play constructed. Like I play.
Yeah.
The constructed I play is Commander.
Have you played some limited games against Oko? Oh my god.
Yeah, I played limited games with Oko. It's unreal.
Fair enough. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I got to play with Oko in the PPR.
Right.
And I was like, oh, this is not fair. Right. It was ludicrous. Anyway, so I don't have personally, I don't have the investment in when cards get banned and then your deck
is banned along with it.
Yeah, and that sucks.
You have to buy cards.
That doesn't happen to me personally just because I don't play standard, but please understand that I absolutely respect that bites hard.
Right.
But I'm generally in favor, in an academic sense, of WotC printing more powerful cards and then going, whoops, we got to ban that, than just kind of printing stuff that's
not interesting.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
Yeah, they have a really difficult needle to thread.
It sounds impossible.
They would like for They would like for the packs to be interesting, and then they're printing cards for standard and the other forms. But let's just think about standard. They're printing cards for standard. And they want people to be able to get excited to build these decks and then also get to play these decks for 18 months or whatever it is, however long the lifespan of the card's supposed to be. But then they have to keep printing new exciting cards in the next set, and they have to try and balance those cards against the previous cards. And obviously they do want you to buy as many packs as you can possibly afford to, but they don't want to let you down and say, hey, you spent however much, $200 or whatever on these Okos, and now they're not legal anymore. We get that that's a bummer. And those are all the balls they're trying to juggle. And I think that overall the plan of banning more cards is a popular one with the player base. I think people are happier to see the format being corrected by, WotC than not. I played all the way through Fairies, Jund, and Cobblade, and they did ban the third one. A lot later probably than they would have today.
Yeah,
but they banned it during its standard lifespan.
Yeah,
and Bitter Blossom was never banned, and there were other decks at the time, but Cruel Ultimatum famously won a Pro Tour while Bitter Blossom was legal. But then the following year, the numbers were just really high for how many people were playing Jund at the Pro Tours and at the Grand Prix circuit and stuff. Jund was very, very good.
Well, you bit blasted into Elf into Blightning.
Yeah, into Blightning. Yeah, for sure.
Yes,
I did.
It's also worth noting that officially, word from Wizards now is that as has been suspected by people for some time, that the most popular way to play Magic is Commander.
Oh right, yeah, they let us know that. Yeah, I was pretty sure of that a few years ago, just from
I don't think
from
it's
the LGS standpoint. I didn't think it was a Victoria local thing.
No, and I definitely think that a lot of people had that theory and were pretty strongly convinced of it, but there was never any way to confirm it, and it was it's probably not just me, but I feel like this is and now Wizards is based on our data, Commander is the most popular way to play Magic. So that's cool. And so keep printing the powerful cards and banning them in Standard. We'll keep playing them in Commander.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Oko, decent Commander card, but probably not on the watch list, right?
Yeah,
I wouldn't think.
No,
probably not.
So is that it for bannings?
Well, yeah, we talked about all of them.
Yeah.
We talked a little bit about the fire philosophy. We talked about next year being really powerful. So I guess I just wanted to put the last bow in that. It was just stay used to standard bannings, and or if you hate that, let them know or something, I suppose. I don't know. It's if you didn't play through Bitter Blossom and you didn't play through Bloodbraid Elf, maybe just think about that. Go back and look at some of the week after week deck list dumps, data dumps or whatever, or Grand Prix results and what the deck lists look like. Because there was innovation sometimes, but I think that the organized play team didn't have the people or the philosophy in mind now where they're just should we just ban Bitter Blossom? 45% of decks played it,
Yeah, sure, you can play Spreading Seas against Jund.
That's fine, right?
Yeah, that's fine. It's a solution.
Yeah.
Deck doesn't even work.
Yeah, so overall, I think we're happy to see that. Oh, and the last thing I wanted to say, because we didn't say it yet, everyone else said it already, I'm sure, but I want to acknowledge the bravery of WotC in banning their marquee character.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
this, there's
That
two.
has to be a feel bad.
Yeah, well, and I think that was
feel
another
like
conversation that was going around. It was just like they're not going to ban them. They just won't. They'll ban everything else. They'll ban Nissa and Goose and Once Upon a Time and Veil of Summer and Hydra Crisis.
I suspect that they probably would have banned Oko, like at the prior, a card of
okay.
this power at the prior banning,
Like the
if,
Field of the Dead
if it
ban?
hadn't, if
Right.
it hadn't been the Marquee Planeswalker. That's my supposition.
Sure.
But yeah, they did it. They had to. But yeah,
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about other
boosters.
magic things. Boosters, yes.
Boosters. So we talked last episode about the mystery boosters, and I was very wrong about what they were, and then corrected myself within the same episode. So hopefully you didn't leave me any mad comments. But what the mystery boosters actually are was that at the time we had no idea, and after Magic Fest Richmond, now we know that the mystery booster, as it is called, is like it's like a chaos cube set, kind of. But whereas, a cube will have like, 400 to 800 cards in like the breadth of a cube, and a chaos draft is just, you get packs from whatever. The potential cards in the pool for the mystery boosters is something like 1,600.
Yeah.
1694.
1,694.
It's similar to Chaos Draft in that when you sit down for Chaos Draft, if all 8 players have 3 different packs that are unique from every other player, you might have a draft where all of the cards are different.
Yeah.
Right? And so Mystery Booster can provide that same experience. 3 packs of Mystery Booster can just give everybody 45 different cards.
And what they also had at the convention edition is these very fun, practically silver bordered, quote, playtest cards, which look like a Wizards R&D playtest card in that they look like a piece of paper from a photocopier stuck to just a random magic comment.
Sticker printer taped over top of some draft.
I did
draft.
notice that they were the same color as the playtest card is supposed to be. Like the one that's on screen right now, 5
Sure.
kids in a trench coat,
Right,
is
right.
2 in a white, and it is over a white card. Just
Right.
to
Yeah,
give you a little
help.
bit of extra
Yeah.
help there. But yeah, and so they're definitely weird, and they're very goofy, but they're legal in Mystery Booster Draft, but they're only going to be in the convention edition of the thing. So when you will be able to buy, sorry, James has just pulled up one called Recyclabird. Single blue mana for a 1/1 flyer, and when Recyclabird dies, put a flying counter on target creature you control, which I think just means that creature gains flying,
Yeah.
because it doesn't specify what that means.
I'd like to give some shout outs to all my judge homies who were judging at MF Richmond here and having to deal with these calls.
One with death makes me so happy.
Oh,
Yeah.
single black mana instant, you lose the game.
Just
Yeah.
all of a sudden.
Yeah, you just play it with Hive Mind.
If only it had split second.
What's that?
Hive Mind copies spells for your opponents.
Yeah.
And then there's resolves first.
No,
Yeah,
no,
of
no.
course.
Well, you play it with or like Platinum Archangel, or
No, theirs does resolve first.
theirs does resolve first.
Well, yeah, because triggers
right.
resolve before the thing that caused the trigger.
Of course they do. Oh, Tybalt. the
Cameron thought he
Chaotic.
only had half a combo with those 2 cards. I gotcha. I got your back, bud.
1 red for a 4 mana Tybalt. +1, cast a copy of one of the following cards chosen at random: Ignorant Bliss, Crack the Earth, or Blazing Volley.
Nice.
-3, cast a copy of one of the following cards at random: Seething Song, Dance with Devils, and Flame Break. And then -6, cast a copy of one of the following cards chosen at random: Hellion Eruption, Insurrection, and Warp World.
That sounds fun.
You monsters.
Here we go.
Wow. Growth Charm, 1 green, instant. Choose 1 Rampant Growth, Giant Growth, Regrowth. Okay, we'll be here all day if we just read all these. These are terrific.
Okay, but they were really fun. Yeah.
So when does
you
Mystery
should get there all?
when does Mystery Booster come out in stores that you can buy at
I think
like
it's
your
coming
LGS?
up. I think Ed told me before Christmas.
Okay, James is going to double
James
check on
is
that.
double checking it.
Now the thing is, when
up
Mystery
soon.
Booster comes out in stores, those cards won't be in it.
No, there's gonna have foils in every pack, right?
Yes, they will, but they'll have foils. So James is going to hop on the microphone.
Also, there's no MSRP anymore.
March 13th,
I was wrong.
2020.
March.
Hmm.
Interesting.
Oops.
So until then, the only place you can play it is at Magic Fests, at which point they will have these, which you can play in the draft.
You can also play them at PAX Unplugged
Whoa.
Right.
in Philadelphia, December 6th through 8th, where myself and Ben and Beach and Heather will be.
Fun.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Actually, I mean, while we're plugging stuff, also, when you're listening to this podcast, if you're listening to it within the first 6 days of it coming out, then this coming Friday on the Friday Night Paper Fight on twitch.tv/loadingreadyrun, and then later as a VOD on this YouTube channel, we will be playing Mystery Booster Draft with the convention edition.
Yep.
Thanks to Wizards for sending us that. So that's going to be a
hoot.
That's going to be a weird, weird draft. Yeah.
Stopping good time.
So anyway, I don't know how they keep doing this, because apparently they underestimated how badly people would want these cards, because some people are very annoyed that these will not be in the retail version of it, even though the retail versions will have different cool stuff.
I feel that nuisance. It's another Hell Vault, basically.
Yeah.
It's just always it's just so hard.
Yeah.
And I love that they're trying to do cool things. There was if they probably don't have the time or didn't plan ahead for it, but there was production on the delivery of the Mystery Booster case to the first sealed event that they had.
Yeah.
at MF
Gavin
Richmond.
Verhey showed up.
Gavin was there, and there was like
a briefcase.
Yeah, and there was like, judges and like staff or whatever moving a pallet of these case boxes of this card behind Gavin, and like formed a phalanx around it.
That's amazing.
And like, yeah, if you were there, you could have made some sweet video for them.
That would have been super fun.
Next
but
time.
I was not. But irrespective of the playtest cards, the concept I think is super cool. It's just like here you go. It's a chaos draft, but with reprints. Like, there's some spicy stuff in there. Someone at that event at Magic Fest Richmond opened a Mana Vault.
Wild. Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Okay.
So maybe it's like I haven't looked at the full list of which cards are available. But
is there a
there's
full
Crypt.
list? There is a full list.
List now. I know. I saw Mana Crypt.
Maybe it
so
was
I think
Mana
maybe
Crypt.
it's like Eternal Masters or something is included is one of the sets that you could get.
Oh,
Are the cards printed with their original expansion symbol?
Yes, they are. And,
Okay.
and so I saw that before I got to see any of the articles explaining the set. And my initial impression was just like, oh, did they just repackage up all the extra cards they have lying around like at WotC HQ? Did they do their own repacks of their draft chaff?
No, they did not. So you can see
No, it's
here.
freshly printed cards.
Yeah, so you can see here on the card if you're watching.
Right.
This is Bloom Tender.
Right. There's a very small planeswalker symbol.
Yeah,
in
if you look in the
left corner of the card.
Bottom left corner of every card is a small planeswalker symbol.
Because
That's how you know.
Because that's printed in the old frame.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's not the most recent.
Doesn't have
frame.
Bellerin text.
Are
Nothing like
there are cards that are printed in an even older frame? How far does this go? How far back?
that. Are there Scourge cards? There you go.
there you go.
Saga cards.
Defense of the Heart, 3 and a green. Wow, weird. So yeah, someone hit me up on Twitter and they're like, they made Beachlander. It's
Yeah,
like, well,
basically.
not really, but
God,
but
Beachlander
I
was
mean,
fun.
kinda like this is. I think this is sweet. I think this is a cool thing that they did, and I'm glad that they are doing weird, fun things.
When I learned more about how the set worked, as Gavin was explaining it,
Yeah.
and when I saw more of the test cards, I got really excited. My initial impression I watched Channel Fireball open 6-packs, and I was like, okay, they have these test cards. That's neat, but like I couldn't read them, so I was like, I don't care that much. And then I saw which cards were included in the rest of the pack of the Magic cards, and I saw that the expansion symbol was the same, and I didn't see the little tiny Planeswalker symbol, so I thought they were literally just repacks, and I was like very unexcited. And then when I found out how the set works and what they did to make it, I got pretty excited, and I'm looking forward to drafting this set. Yeah.
So I'm very much looking forward to that too. And so you can do that at Magic Fests. I think that's just a thing that happens at Magic Fests now, is you can do Mystery Booster Draft.
Right. And ERLGS come this spring.
And then something else that we don't know anything about, but they've been teasing on their Twitter all week, is something called Secret Lair. No idea what it is.
No one knows anything about it.
No, we truly do. Sometimes we at Loading Ready Run, because we do PPRs and stuff, sometimes we get to know things ahead of time, and this is absolutely not one of those cases.
No.
We're like, what is this? We don't know if it's a product of some kind.
Yeah.
They've teased a couple things on their very cryptic tweets, but we don't know if it's just a bunch of boxes or just a bunch of cards in a box. We don't know if it's like a thing to be drafted or it's a pre-made decks or what it is.
Could be a T-shirt, man.
I'm calling it monofoil fetches. Just monofoil fetches.
That's all it is. It's just foil fetches in a box called Secret Lair.
Yep.
It's 4 of every fetch land, including Terramorphic Expanse.
Just 15 fetches printed at every rarity.
Perfect.
And yeah.
Finally, my foil band panorama collection can be completed.
Let me see. What's the
People are guessing loot boxes. I've heard loot boxes are guessing. So like a monthly subscription where you get something.
Huh.
That's a tweet I saw and thought, okay, that could be a thing. This is a thing among gamers where there are gamer loot boxes, but they don't all necessarily contain magic cards, and people might want those.
Like a Planeswalker crate.
Yeah, exactly. They could be doing. They also, one of their tweets said something like, "What would you like to see in a Magic product?" Right, and they've also had a survey up on the mothership recently, trying to steer, direction of the game for the next little while. So there might be some sort of customizable whatever this product is.
So like an example of some of these tweets, there's one, the tweet is, "This one's a cycle of basics, and they love those tacky holiday sweaters, but they're definitely not basic." And then it's someone opening a freezer, and there's a bowl of ice in the freezer with 5 magic cards, but you can only see the backs of them.
Wow, I keep foils in my freezer too.
The snow basics, I guess.
Snow basics, yeah.
And then, stop me if you've heard this one before, "A human, a vampire, and a green sorcery walk into a graveyard." And then there's a video of someone digging up a featureless box from the ground.
There's like some aristocrats or something,
Or dredge.
Sure, or dredge. A human and a vampire.
A human, a vampire, and a green sorcery walk into a graveyard.
Okay,
And then there's like
Life from the Loam.
sure.
some stuff. There's like some posters stuck with it. Okay, there's one of like
Seasons past. I don't know.
pictured 7 people not getting +1/+1 and mountain walk, and one who is, and one explosion. And it's a stock photo of a bunch of people jumping up in a sunset silhouette. And then there's a silhouette of a magic card that I think somebody in the comments identified. Goblin
Okay.
King? Yeah, Goblin King.
Great.
And then like terrible explosion. Like
Like a clip art explosion.
yeah, the marketing has been very, very it's been very millennial Twitter for this. It's odd. But I would look forward to finding out what it could be.
Do we know when we're going to find out?
Nope.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. James, if you can find out any
This
further
game.
information on that, I'd love to hear it.
All right, let's talk about something else. We've
yeah.
got a dark and sad chapter of this TTC that we need to engage in.
Yeah. Oh, chapter. That's a good.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah. So while while we were on hiatus, or maybe just beforehand, the latest Magic novel came out, Forsaken, written by Greg Wiseman, who has written for and created a bunch of TV shows that people really like, but not perhaps known as a novelist.
Yeah.
Which for which he has been receiving some amount of criticism. In particular, not just for the quality of the writing itself. I have not read the book, but one thing in particular, which was I think it's fair to call it a profound bungling of character progression for Chandra, specifically Chandra Nissa, or hashtag Gruul Friends.
I always preferred Channel
The
Fireball.
old Channel Fireball.
The
yeah,
old Channel
exactly.
Fireball.
Who in the stories, when did this start? This is because it's been going on for a
Oath of
while.
the Gatewatch?
I feel like it was maybe
Kaladesh?
after they...
Was it in the Kaladesh stories?
Possibly.
I read the excerpts. I think it was during Kaladesh.
Okay,
Anyway.
I want to say it was after they dealt with the first 2 Eldrazi's, but that would have been all the way after they sealed Emrakul and the Moon. Maybe that's right.
I want to say
Bunch of
Oath
lore
the
buffs right here. We
Gatewatch.
call it lore, concede lore.
I mean, that's why you should go listen to like Lorgoyfs or someone who's actually there, have a whole podcast for that.
Yeah.
But anyway, great name, by the way, if you haven't listened to their podcast.
All right, if you're not caught up, Chandra and Nissa, they're an item.
Yeah, or at least that's been heavily teased for some time, right? And that was, people were happy to see that kind of representation, even if they were not being really explicit about it. They were just sort of, like heavily teasing it, and people were like, "This is nice. Please, make it really clear that this is what you're doing, and you're not just sort of like hinting at it to,
Don't leave Chandra and Nissa in the closet forever.
To bait us.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like bait, basically. And then in Forsaken, in a really like ham-fisted way, the book just says in literally these words, Chandra had never liked girls. She preferred,
Decidedly male.
decidedly masculine people like
Said she liked
like
Gideon. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and everybody was like, "What? What the what? Like what do you mean has never this contradicts what you've said before.
Well, I think there was half of the paragraph was like, this was just a phase. Like it was a phase that she liked girls, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
but it did have the line,
Yeah.
Chandra had never liked girls. And it was just sort of like, but this has been happening for years.
Which is like, and it's weird because Greg Weisman, I recently heard about him being involved in, creating the TV show Gargoyles.
Yeah. Okay.
And noteworthy for trying to make Lexington, one of the gargoyles, gay.
Yeah.
In like a 1990s cartoon.
Yeah.
Right.
Right? And like, this seems weird. It seems like a weird thing to happen, but I guess there it is.
I mean, I haven't written a book. I didn't write this book, obviously. So, like, I'm sure writing books is hard. And it probably really sucks when you try to, like, make something that's entertaining for people and they only focus on one thing that you probably didn't spend that much time on or, like, spend that much time agonizing over. Or maybe it was worse than that. Maybe it was, like, you didn't even really write and then there was, like, an order from somewhere or, like, it was part of your contract. It'd be like, oh, you need to explain this thing.
Yeah, and that's,
you know what I mean?
So
so you're like, okay, I guess,
like
and I don't know. I don't know if that's the story.
I don't know. My suspicion, and this doesn't make it better.
Sure.
But my suspicion is not that there was some sort of edict, because frankly, since Wizards started farming out their story to different novelists and storytellers, it has been inconsistent.
Right.
And
the Eldraine novel was fairly well received. I think, as being like, this was a fun way to spend a couple hours.
yeah, I'm not saying that they've been bad. It's just it's been inconsistent. Whereas when it was being done in house, there was a lot more continuity and things felt like it was cohesive.
Right.
And
You're
this
reading
is
parts
just,
of a whole story, right?
yeah, and I think that to be honest, I don't know who in the building at Wizards cares about this or is monitoring it. And what I suspect happened is that Greg Weisman was writing and didn't know about this character development that had been happening, and I think no one, and was just like, okay, I'm writing this passage about Chandra. I'm gonna say this about her because I have no frame of reference for what's been happening. So I'm gonna make it up because there's no character Bible, is what I'm assuming.
Right.
And then nobody at Wizards went, hey, don't do that. They just went, sure. You're the author.
That's possible too. It's possible.
Like
no one had really proofread this. Who would have a hand?
This is a, and as someone who does writing, I feel like this is a very damning accusation to throw, and so I'm sorry, but it comes across like they just didn't give a shit.
Yeah.
That they were just like, okay, sure, like that Wiseman didn't know better and just made a decision, and the Wizards was like, okay, and then it got printed, and then everyone was like, what the hell is this?
Right.
And it's like, it's
well, certainly they don't.
Woof.
I wouldn't expect that there's a writing team or whatever that has puts the same amount of effort into ensuring that the novels are going to do their best not to ruffle any feathers as much as they try to make sure standard's playable.
Yeah.
Right.
And I mean, there is someone at Wizards who is in charge of story.
Right.
But there's an article you can check out on Medium about how like maybe that guy is not the right person to be in charge of the story.
Yeah.
Sure.
So they released a very short article today. Did you have it?
I was going to mention that. So
Okay.
This morning they released an article on Chandra and the Forsaken novel. Did you see this, Cam?
I saw it. I have not gotten a chance to read it yet. So hit me.
It's not bad, honestly, as far as I'm concerned. So it says, over the past week, we have seen and heard strong reactions from fans about how we handled the resolution of the Nissa-Chandra romantic relationship in the recent Forsaken novel, and we apologize.
Just straight up apologizing in the first sentence.
We didn't live up to the expectations we created for Chandra and what she means to our fans. Chandra will love and be involved with many characters as her story unfolds, regardless of gender. She will explore her relationships with fire and passion as she adventures across the multiverse, and I'm sure she is the character you've come to know and see yourself, your friends, and your family in over the past decade. That sentence says to me, ignore what happened in Forsaken.
Yeah.
It's like that she is the character you've come to know.
Yeah.
Tells me this is all very sanitized and corporate, but that sentence
Yeah,
The subtext of that sentence is
she's bi. We
yeah.
We
A value we hold
did not
dear.
do that.
Yeah, a value we hold dear is that our characters belong as much to our fans as they do to those of us who help create and shepherd them. Moving forward, we will take more care to ensure they stay true to their ideals, their identity, and the history we have carefully curated. None more so than one as beloved as Chandra and Lair. Signed, the creative team at Wizards of the Coast and Del Rey, who are the publishers of the book. So,
Well, I guess they're going to have to double down on curating carefully if they want to hold up the standards that they set in that article.
or set out like a character Bible.
Sure.
yeah, because I don't think they have that. I mean, look, like we know that at some point, not even that long ago, that Wizards didn't have any internal character consistency for their planeswalkers and what these characters do and like what makes this a Liliana ability, what makes this planeswalker Jace rather than just a blue planeswalker. Until someone internally was like, I'm going to start doing this.
Right.
Right. And then, it's the, I was talking online about how, this is a weird digression in the WWE, right, who have big storytelling problems, that they were like, we need to hire, Hollywood screenwriters to help us fix this. And so they hired a guy who had worked doing TV shows, and he came in and he's like, okay, cool. So where are the character Bibles? And he was literally laughed at for asking that question. That's not Wizards, but
Games Workshop had a similar thing.
Yeah.
Where they had to actually just they did it internally, but they have someone now who his entire job is overseeing the fiction. Right. And
to make sure that the characters stay to the
and they've done
themselves.
that. I think wait, did he die a couple of years ago? They might have had to replace him. Was he the guy who died in Black Library? But they decided to make the commitment and spend the money on hiring somebody at full time.
Yeah.
To just be in charge of what's going on in the Horus Heresy novels right now.
Yeah.
Right. And keeping their various authors up to date.
Yeah.
And making sure they talk.
And Wizards has a lead of story, right? But you don't. It's not even that you need a lead of story, right? Like lead of story is like head of R&D or head of design, right? You need someone like the Magic rules manager, right? You need
story manager.
Yeah, you need the lore master.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right? To be like, hey, this is what we're doing with the story, and the lore master can go like, that sounds great, except that character wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Right? You need someone to have that kind of input from the inside of the building so that there's consistency.
Right.
Internal Vorthos.
Yeah.
Well, and the other thing is,
I think it's apparent that they didn't have that for this.
They obviously, I can't speak to what was going on, but they definitely seem to be pretty proud of hiring outside authors.
Yeah.
To write books.
Hey,
you love Magic Story. Don't worry about it. We hired real authors. And everyone's like, oh.
Not like that.
Yeah.
And it's just a shame because the stories for through Kaladesh and Ixalan especially that were all done internally, shout outs to Allison, were really good. And everyone was like, man, Magic stories are getting really, really good. And then Wizards was like, yep, now we're going to get other people to do it. And everybody was sort of like, but why though?
Yeah, you had something that really worked.
So
that made me care about Jace.
Yeah.
Right.
Who is...
Hiring talented authors, though, is a move that's going to, or it should, naturally, bring accolades and attention to the Magic story.
Mm-hmm.
So, I actually appreciated that move. I've, never been a big person who's into the lore, but I was like, oh, they're, hiring, they're putting more money into this.
To me, it didn't make
So that's
sense
cool.
because, to me, I was like, this person isn't going to
They're not
know.
going to nail it, yeah.
Well,
yeah.
it's not that they can't nail it. It's not like these people are untalented hacks. It's just they're. If you're contracting someone for something like this, they're not going to have the continuance. They're not going to be as invested. They're not going to know things like we saw here.
It's not like Marvel hiring Ta-Nehisi Coates to write Black Panther for a run. Who's I don't watch Marvel movies, but I know who Black Panther is.
Yeah.
Right? But if you hire a known writer to work on a property that people aren't familiar with, they're not going to know it because it doesn't have the cultural relevance.
Yeah.
Right? You can hire famous people to work on MCU characters just because they'll know who they are by osmosis.
Right.
But if you hire Ta-Nehisi Coates to write a story about Nyssa, you're probably going to need a lot of briefing
Right.
to bring them up to date on it.
Yeah, you don't know that Jace's mind was wiped and he was stranded on Ixalan and had no shirt.
Yeah.
Just by being part of Western society. You need to be a magic nerd to figure that shit out.
Yeah. So,
But
I appreciated this statement from Wizards at least.
Oh, yeah, that
Anyway.
apology article is really comforting to me, and I hope it is to the LGBTQ 2+A magic community.
There were some
It was
people in
just
the.
so
I'm sorry, Cam.
Oh, the thing in that book though is it's so deliberate, right? It doesn't strike me as Greg Weisman being oh, I don't know this character is gay and therefore, or is bi and therefore I'm not going to address her relationship with Nyssa. This was no, right? This, it came from somewhere. Right? Whether it was him deciding, I'm going to assassinate this character's sexual identity, or
Yeah, I'm really curious. I'm really curious what the motivation for it was too, and we don't know that yet.
It just felt to me
we'll never know.
It just felt to me kind of just not great writing. This is look. I've written scripts for 15 years. I couldn't write a novel. Script writing and novel writing are very different things.
Yeah.
And I think that I don't know. The impression I get was just not a very well written novel.
Yeah, also the Liliana bit that was going around, the clip that Del Rey put out, or the blurb.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Oh, where it was something about Liliana says I do what all necromancers do, and then
is this where a Johnny grinned his cat grin or whatever it was?
Something like that.
Yeah,
and it was
Right,
just
grinned his Leonin grin or whatever.
Yeah, that painting that was going around on Twitter recently of the woman reading the book and being
right, yeah.
Very disturbed.
Yeah, I don't know. I saw some responses to this, to that comment, to the apology that were wow, what a non-apology. I disagree with that. It's
really?
It's definitely an apology. It's right there. We apologize in the first sentence. We apologize. There are some corporate sentences in there about she's still gonna go and do the multiverse, and they don't explicitly say Chandra is bi in the article. But I definitely read that one sentence that I highlighted as a whatever happened in Forsaken is not real. She is actually what you believe she is.
I think this is a reasonable timeline because the story ekes out more slowly. Unlike the Magic releases these days, you do generally have to wait 3 to 6 months, maybe even a whole year before your favorite character in Magic shows up again in a comic book or in a novel. So I want to say that if by November of 2020, Chandra hasn't bagged someone of every gender, I'm going to be disappointed. That's fair. That's fair. We're being fair. You got 1 year. It's plenty of time.
Well, I think there was also
Send
a
the
lot of
memo
just
out.
So how did Niv Mizzet die? I guess we're a year out.
Hey, man.
War of the Spark.
Niv Mizzet is a very powerful being. He can die any damn way he wants.
I don't know how he died.
Yeah, and he doesn't want you to know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't want to defend
Well,
that.
I think that Forsaken was supposed to answer a bunch of question marks around War of the Spark, where what happened?
Cameron, you got to fight the fights you can win.
Yeah.
And Chandra can kiss girls. We can win that fight. We just need to see Chandra kiss girls.
I just don't even know if it had addressed how Niv Mizzet
Women.
died.
Sorry, women. Girls are children, as I've learned from watching The Good Place.
Right. I like The Good Place.
Yeah.
It's
great.
I was going to say it's good, and that sounded reductive, but anyway. Well, if we don't know how Niv Mizzet died, then I guess there's nothing else to talk about. So, what's up, James?
Secret Lair, Monday.
Monday?
Yeah.
Oh, so the day you're hearing this.
Yeah,
Wow,
the day
you get
you
to-
hear this, we
you
will
get to
know
hear
what
how
it
far
is.
off we are.
You get to know ahead of
Yeah.
15 foil fetches.
You got to listen to how dumb we were for 10 minutes trying to guess what would be in it. Magic t-shirt made of real magic cards.
Ugh.
Finally, it's a Jace hoodie.
I hope
Can't
so.
believe they've never made that. Anyway, that's going to do it for Tap Tap Concede for this week. Nice to be back. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Until next time, a reminder that the show is brought to you by Card Kingdom. Do check out cardkingdom.com/LRR. They'll ship you old stuff now. And, of course, this show and everything we do is brought to you by you and your kind support of our Patreon at patreon.com/loadingreadyrun. I've been Graham.
I've been Cameron.
I've been Nelson.
James has been here on Tech. Heather gets these online. Please like, share, and subscribe. Talk to you next time. Bye.